first radio show you were actually on when you came home from prison.
First internet show? Yeah.
Yep. So tell us actually why you went to prison, kind of a little bit of your story, and then what happened when you got out.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, it's just an honor to be doing this interview after 7 years and see you guys still just in the game, working hard on issues that you guys care about, prison reform, you know, saving at-risk youth from going down the path that we went down. So it's really an honor to bring this full circle 7 years later.
Right.
So most people know my story by now. It's been all over the place. But for those who don't know, I was sentenced to prison at the age of 19 to 17 to 40 years in prison for second-degree murder. I was released almost 7 years ago, June of 2010. So I'm really excited to be at a different phase in my life. But you know, even though I'm free, you know, a lot of my work centers around prisons and what's happening in that environment.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've kind of watched you grow up.
Yeah.
Since you came home. I mean, coming home after 19 years, you grew up a lot. You came home knowing what you wanted to do, and even though we didn't meet you in person, you were on a radio show several times.
Yeah.
And we kept up every time you did a new book.
Yeah. Phone calls with Rob.
Phone calls, talking, just watching you grow and watching you grow in the right direction. Because you had those goals set before you came home, which is important when we're talking about prison reform. When you have to know what you want to do, like you said, when you're coming home.
Yeah.
So that you can stay on that right path and then get hooked up with the right people. How hard was that when you got home?
It was very hard, you know, especially looking back now. I definitely wouldn't want to do it all over again. But I learned so many life lessons, and you know, I actually want to emphasize the growing up part because, you know, when you go to prison at a young age, your emotional and mental growth kind of stops at that point of, you know, in regards to just regular life on the outside, right? So I went in at a young age, and I came out to real adult responsibilities, you know, buying a home and, you know, moving and, you know, trying to build my career and build a business, you know, all simultaneously. So there's a lot of things happening at one time, and so it was extremely hard. You know, a lot of doors get closed in your face. Being a writer isn't like, you know, as glamorous as being, you know, an actor or a musician, because you don't, you know, it takes a while for people to really
have to hustle
read.
your books.
You gotta hustle,
Right.
hustle.
We understand that.
Yeah, nonstop. And that hustle never stops. I'm still selling books. That's what I do. But it was, you know, it's hard to get rejected. But the thing is, when you know what your purpose is and you understand your goals in a real way, then you know those obstacles are going to come. You just know you got to work harder to overcome them, and that's just what I did. Like every time I ran into something, I was like, I need to figure out how to climb over this wall, go up under it, go around it, whatever. But I got to get through this obstacle. But it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's doable.
So tell us about this book here that you wrote after you got home.
Yeah, this is the only book I've actually written since I've been out. I've written a total of about 6 books, and Writing My Wrongs came about through me really just thinking about the young men and women who I was mentoring, who I was working with, and the men that I had left behind, and really thinking about how those two worlds intersect. We have so many young people that end up on the wrong path because nobody intervenes, nobody steps in, and then the people who are in position to help, they've been so judgmental of young people for so long that it's hard for them to humanize. And I really wanted to humanize the experience of young people who get caught up in the streets. You know, in this country right now, we talk a lot about, you know, human trafficking. You know, just example in D.C., you had all these young ladies, you have all these young ladies who are missing and people trying to figure out what's going on. But one of the areas we don't never really think of human trafficking is in the drug trade. And basically, those are young men and women getting caught up in their culture who are basically being human trafficked because they're being exploited to sell drugs and things like that. So I knew that, you know, when I came home, it was important for me to speak to those issues. And then when I, you know, got out of prison, you know, I realized I can't just get out here and forget about the men that I grew up with there. You know, what a lot of people don't really think about is that that was my neighborhood for 2 decades. You know, and I built real relationships and I have real friends in there, but also saw the abuses that people with mental illness were suffering from. And I knew I had a responsibility to speak to that as well. So that's how the book came about, and I originally self-published it. In 2013, it got picked up by a mainstream publisher 2 years later. And so that's the grind, right? It's like, it doesn't happen overnight. It's like a long, tedious process of selling books, getting books in the right people's hand. And eventually it got picked up, and now it's a New York Times bestseller.
And after it got picked up, though, tell us how you met Oprah and how you were able to get on her show.
Yeah, well, I actually met Oprah before that book got picked up, which was the cool thing. So Oprah read the original version, which was like the self-published.
Right.
Me and my then partner at the time, Ebony, we put this book out. I wrote the book, she edited it, we co-designed the book cover, and so Oprah read that version, And one of my favorite things is that, she actually read, that particular version, because this wasn't like done by a mainstream publisher.
Right.
And she was able to really absorb the story, but also appreciate my writing, and so that means a lot as a writer. But anyway, I got invited to be on her Super Soul Sunday show, which we shot in like June of 2015, and it eventually aired March 2016. And it's been an unbelievable experience. Like, Oprah's really a genuine person, and I always imagine like being in those positions where people on the outside are judging you without knowing, like, really your heart. And she just has a big heart, and it's an amazing heart, and she cares about real things. And when we met, it was just like we had been knowing each other forever, and so now we're pretty good friends. And I'm just always honored to learn from her and to be able to share my thoughts about things with her. And
so
she's a great.
Tell us a little bit of what your plans are at this point now that you're out here in California.
Yeah, well, I was sitting up thinking about the work that I do with my mentees, and I realized that one of the things I always tell them is nobody's going to build your dream for you. You have to build it yourself. You have to go after it. You have to go to sleep thinking about it, wake up thinking about it. Excuse me, I'm a little congested from flying. But ultimately, you have to build it, And when I was thinking about those conversations, I realized that I wasn't living my truth, because I had already been, when I first started writing, I wasn't writing as an activist. I was writing to actually get away from my activism. So I was like, an activist, but also need to do something creative.
Right.
And so I was writing fiction and just poetry and different things like that. And when I was just telling my mentees that, I realized I wasn't living my dream. My dream was to be a writer. And my dream is to be a writer in various formats, for the stage, for film. And I just, one day, it was like, I had a couple of conversations with my youngest son, Sekou, who was on the cover of the book with his mother. And I just told her I was thinking about this, making this move. And, she was like, well, if you decide to make the move, I will definitely move out there so I can make sure that your son is there with you. And at that point, I was like, I don't have any excuses,
Right.
People move out here with the last $150 they have in their pocket in a dream.
Right.
And they stick to it, and they work through the rough parts, and eventually they make it. And so for me, I knew that if I wanted to live my dream, I had to be in a place where I could give birth to it. And so I made the move to Hollywood, and it's been great. And that's how it is.
Well, like I said, we've enjoyed watching you grow up, and we've always been proud of you for moving forward and pushing through those tough times. And we congratulate you on your successes and look forward to what's coming down the future.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I admire the work you guys are doing. Everything that you've done with the book, and just how y'all use that whole platform, The Streets Don't Love You Back, to really reach out to people who the world sometimes forgets about.
Right.
And you guys are constant reminders. So shout out to Rob, Lucinda, and let me get this book. So if you haven't read this, you got to read this. This book, The Streets Don't Love You Back, takes you into Detroit, Warren Encounter projects. It got all the throwback photos in here. Rob with his low song, with all the OGs, legends. Legends who lost a lot and sacrificed a lot, and that's one of the things that make this book special, because you realize that when you give up everything for the streets, they don't love you back when it's all said and done. You sit in that cell block, it's just you, and when you sitting on that slab in the morgue, it's just you. So, shout out to y'all for the incredible work y'all doing. And for all the amazing things y'all doing in criminal justice reform right now, and being able to work in Arizona and inspire people. So y'all are creating a model for other people to follow. So shout out to the team. I'm happy y'all stopped through to see me. And it's pretty dope to finally connect in person. So
Right.
Hey, we really appreciate it, Shock, man. Any last words, sweetie?
No, just happy to be here with Shaka, and looking forward to see what he has coming.
Without a doubt, man. So, hey, I finally got a chance to meet my Detroit homie for the first time in person. You know, Shaka got with us in 2010 when he got out of prison. But this is me and Shaka and my wife's very first time meeting in person after 7 Peace. Yeah. So we want to thank you, Shaka, man. Keep up the good work, man. And we're going to keep this thing moving forward, man. Streets will love you back. And my man Shaka in the building, man. Writing My Wrongs.
Writing My Wrongs.
That's what the business is. And if you ain't got that book, go cop that. You feel me?
This one too. Grab them. Writing My Wrongs. Get both of these.
Yep.
These are must reads for young people.
You see this little man with him? That's let you know, man, that a father being a real father. You feel me?
No doubt.
And we got my man right here, Rob Boyd, Streets on your back. We in the building.
You can love the streets, but the streets don't love you back. You can love the streets, but the streets don't love you back. You can love the streets, but the streets don't love you back. You can love the streets, but the streets don't love you back. A lot of homies dead and gone, thought the streets would love them back. I got homies in the pen I might never see again, cause they live by code. Always keep your mouth closed. In the streets they be watching, plotting to get you murdered.